Hello, this is Law and Terrorism, the podcast series. I'm your professor, Glenn Torres-Spelliscy. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for joining me in this first podcast of the semester. I'm your professor, Glenn Torres-Spelliscy, and this is 5 Key Questions. To explain, for almost every lecture, with a few exceptions, I've put together a short 5 to 10 minute podcast, addressing what I think are the 5 key questions for the week. These are the questions that I want you to think about as you are doing the readings and going through the material that week. They're the big questions that form the foundation of what we are trying to achieve in a given lecture. So let's get started. Here I'm going to encourage you to watch the videos that I put up about my teaching philosophy, as that offers a little background. To quickly summarize here, I'm a lawyer by trade. I started practicing law in the immediate aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. My law practice was in many ways shaped by how the United States sought to respond to those attacks. My practice focused on human rights and national security as well as on commercial business law. I've been teaching for about 15 years, and I teach at multiple schools throughout the United States. My courses focus on issues of international law and policy, as well as business law. I've been teaching exclusively online for a decade now, so I have a lot of experience in the field of online education. If you are new to this, I want to encourage you to ask questions and to use me as a resource. I have encountered numerous problems over my years working with various learning management systems, and I probably have a quick and easy solution. So if you are struggling with something, let me know, and let's come up with a solution together. Our goal this year is going to be to understand the changes that took place in the international legal sphere in light of the United States response to the 9/11 attacks. As concerns about terrorism were thrust to the fore, the U.S. government found many of the restrictions on state action and guarantees of certain rights that had been installed by the United States in the Cold War era to be cumbersome. As a result, the United States sought to introduce new understandings that would lubricate its fight against global terror networks. Some of the innovations may have been justified and others were surely not. So for this course, we're going to start by gaining an understanding of the international legal system and rules prior to the 9/11 attacks. And then we will assess how the U.S. response to those attacks stressed that system and how the laws changed in response. By the end of this semester, I'm hopeful that all the students will have accomplished the following 5 learning objectives. First, students will be able to describe fundamental international legal principles, including but not limited to defining terrorism, assigning international legal responsibility, the use of force, rules on targeting, and fundamental human rights protections. Second, students will be able to identify key background facts concerning both instances of terrorism as well as state responses to those terrorist activities. Students will be able to support or critique U.S. policy during the global war on terror and describe how that policy has altered international legal understandings and norms over the last 2 decades. Students will demonstrate the ability to engage in a detailed analysis of contemporary issues by producing a long-form written paper regarding an international issue impacted by terrorism and the state's response to the terrorist acts. And students will be able to create a multimedia presentation where they discuss and present their papers using technology in a compelling way. The first 3 objectives will be assessed using discussion board postings in the final exam. The last 2 objectives attempt to simulate a potential exercise in the real world. Oftentimes, as a legal analyst, you'll be asked to assess a particular law or situation and write a white paper about it. You will then be asked to come and give a presentation on your findings to decision makers. And that is what we are trying to simulate with the term project this year. I would encourage you to carefully review the syllabus as it has a lot more details as to the project and the various assessments, as well as information on how they line up with the various learning objectives. The grading this year will be broken into 4 different categories. A very small amount of your grade will go to class attendance. That means simply logging onto the website and participating on a weekly basis. These are easy points, so don't miss them. The first larger category is for discussion board postings. You will have 10 different discussion board postings this year. The discussion board postings will relate to something that is from the lectures or the readings, and the topic will be provided by me in the forum. The postings are worth 20% of your grade total. I want to be clear that there are not a lot of right answers to the questions in the discussion forum. These are all areas of gray, so the grade will simply be based on whether you have completed the post in a way that demonstrates you thought carefully about the issue. The term project, which is the written paper and oral presentation combined, are worth a large part of your grade, and I want to stress here that I expect this project to take the entire semester. Do not try to leave it until the last weeks. After you pick a topic, you will need to spend weeks doing research and then weeks writing and preparing your presentation. This is time-consuming work, so make sure to give it the attention it deserves. The final exam is worth 40% of your final grade, so it is obviously significant. A couple of things. First, it is open book. Your books are a valuable resource, so make sure that you have them with you when you take the exam. No, don't think that you can crack the book for the first time and do fine. You won't. But if you have kept up with your readings and annotated the books correctly, the exam shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's a multiple choice exam, but don't let that fool you. Multiple choice exams are harder because there is a right answer, and the questions often are quite detailed. So make sure you study and are prepared. Secondly, you are allowed multiple attempts on the questions you got wrong. If you miss something, go back, look again, and try to get the points the second time. In the first week of the class, I like to take the time to have students introduce themselves. This is graded and easy points, so don't forget to complete the posting. Find that it helps to build community by having people give a little information about themselves and their background. Make sure to read through everyone's post, as you never know what you might have in common. Well, that does it for this week's introductory podcast. If you have any questions, let me know, and I will see you for another episode of 5 Key Questions next week.